What is up, everyone? Welcome. It is Friday, June 5th, 2026. You're watching Trading Trends with John Salama, CMT, and Rocco, the all-time high Maltese dog. Although today we actually did get a new all-time high in the Dow. Crypto is down a fifth this week, down literally 20%. And the crypto complex was my big takeaway from this week, as well as, of course, the all-time highs in semiconductors and the Dow. Let's get to the sheet for the day. As I said, a programming note. I am out next week, and we'll return the following week, the week of the 14th, 15th, and of course the meetup in New York, scheduled for the Wednesday, the 17th at Ulysses. Okay, so let's get into it today. A very interesting day. The jobs number came out this morning, 2x what they expected. Although those numbers are truly absolutely fugazi. We were looking at the charts all week, said from about the end of May, I believe, that we were seeing a bullish accumulation phase in SPY due to cycles ending on or around today, June 5th. And we said typically those pretty good predictors within 48 hours, usually. And we'll look at the charts. We actually had, I talked about it in Wednesday's video, a pretty ugly reversal intraday, and we'll see what happened in SPY. Today, oh my goodness, Ethereum, gold, and Ark selling off a big dollar move today after the jobs number came in extraordinary. Dollar absolutely surged, a powerful move. Rates went higher, and these assets went lower. So they're absolutely liquidating. Ethereum, 52-week low in the ETF. Gold, a hard sell-off. The miners are absolutely getting abused. That was my thesis as well. A couple of weeks ago, said oil was going to stay high. Those gold miners trade is going to start to go south. That's exactly what we're starting to see. We'll look at the chart. And ARK, I could have used another Bitcoin, correlation, but ARK getting absolutely hammered today. What is finding a bid? Absolutely just the defensives, volatility, staples, and healthcare. Healthcare finding a very strong bid in the past several days. And again, new all-time highs for Dow and nothing else. And when you zoom out, truly, this week was characterized by carnage in crypto world. Bitcoin and Ethereum down roughly a fifth. Just absolutely staggering. We've been looking at the charts, just seeing the absolute extreme weakness in it. And today, still finding no bottom at all. Seems like folks are, selling crypto to fund other parts of the market. So let's get in here. Let's go to the dashboard panel, everything that matters. We were talking about as well, too, this sell-off, when it happens, it's going to feel like it's, painful. And it's pretty much, sometimes we always say the market gives you a lot or a little in a lot. You'll see what I mean. First off, though, Micron down 9.5%. The stock has been, in God mode, essentially. So it's down just to $900. Don't forget, this thing touched 1089 during the euphoria. So momentum cuts both ways. NASDAQ down the Q's down 3.5% today almost. NVIDIA down to an important level, down to this 208. That old former region of resistance now becoming support. Let's see, it's bleeding into it right here, down 5%. SPY, as I said, we'll get to a little bit more closer, down 1.8%. Marvell down 10. Tesla down 5. Lucid, a competitor, hit an all-time low today. So just a little bit of an interesting space in the EV. Tesla trading now a little bit more with the SpaceX euphoria IPO, and a 50-50 chance that they merge in the next year. Again, Lucid hitting all-time lows today. Tesla eating its lunch. Broadcom down 6%. They had a bloodbath yesterday, down 15% after an earnings basically match, and it wasn't enough for the street. AMD, it's had a out of this world run, it's down 9%. Intel, out of this world run, down 8%. SOX down, this is what I own, down 8%. IWM down almost 3%. The SMH down 7%, more NVIDIA heavy. And Microsoft down 2%, Meta down nearly 3%. So a lot of bleeding today, especially in the mega caps. Let's get to the intraday chart. The job number was right here at 8:30. You can see the reaction. It took SPY from essentially 754 to about 752. And boom, when the liquidity entered the room at 9:30, they took that from 753 all the way down to 749. It had a little bit of some buyer enthusiasm to just do this little meerkat action above VWAP. But look at this. This is what you should be seeing. The market has an intraday fever. That's a 17 RSI. Folks are not going to step in to buy there. The best you can expect on a 17 RSI is maybe a bounce to VWAP and then more rollover. That's just too extremely, extremely heavy. VWAP on the day right here is clean at 748, $5 off. As I said, more importantly, we were talking about this on Wednesday's video, especially, and in the past week, I had been, let me see the screen share here, should be still working. Yeah. We had been seeing near highs. My target was, and SPY, excels to the upside here, 762. It turns out 760 3 days ago was our all-time high in SPY. And what's really interesting was this kind of reversal 2 days ago. Intraday here, we closed down 70 bips. Yesterday was a decent 40 bip day. It was much more prevalent in the NASDAQ. But what I had been saying was I was looking for a pullback, and it was going to be, more so when I was getting back. More so in the third week of June, I thought we would be trading around truly right around 743, 744. That's what I said. You can go check Wednesday's video. And that was that 760 handle. So now what happens? You did this in 2 days. Honestly, the ATR again on SPY is $7. We had legit give back of, $17 in just a couple of sessions. So now what? A big exclamation point, obviously. I don't think the run is over by any stretch here. Finally, this is insane. We are not 60 RSI anymore since 2 days before. So the week of the ceasefire news, April 17th. So that's insane. So you're finally seeing folks say, okay, I spent a little bit too much. Let's rotate at least into other areas of the market. Again, this is specifically looking at SPY. If I had a chart of Dow, RSP, these things are hitting all-time highs. RSP yesterday, Dow today, and then a midday reversal after the, the number. But again, all this being said, it is interesting that we have less RSI than the days preceding, the week of the ceasefire. Yeah. So again, the ceasefire sent us to a 60 RSI. Before that, we had been struggling to hold 55 going back for all of 2026. So very interesting what happened in the past couple of days. Obviously, the jobs number, crypto has been absolutely bleeding out. I'm just looking at charts here. Again, what I do expect is on or around through, June 20th, so right around OPEX. I see us putting in a base right around that 740 to 745 region where we are today. So I'm glad I'm kind of out next week, because I think it could be a frustrating market with some zigs and some zags, getting to 753 and then back down to 748 and all this kind of nonsense, when really it's going to be digesting. And that's fine, because when you go this straight up, that's just like doing 10 shots in a row and you get hung over. And this is where you run to the toilet in one candle instead of just, let me kind of detox it out and feel good. So, and then after that, I do feel, or not feel, I don't do anything based on feel. This is based on the data and the charts here. Right around America's 250th birthday, I do see us going to new all-time highs again, right around that 762, breaching of a 765, right around there. Truly right around July 4. I'm sure the Don will absolutely just be ecstatic about it. So that's the way the charts look to me. Pick your spots for the next 2 weeks. This is going to be a digestion mode for this crazy run up, this just massive overbought period that you've honestly experienced since the ceasefire of just 6 weeks of pretty relentless buying. Again, the ceasefire, we gapped up. VWAP that day closed at 675. You've been pretty much relentlessly buying to 760 with really not even a touch to the 21-day exponential until today. So trees don't grow to the sky. I haven't said it in a long time, but today that is true. Let's see what they're buying today. It's very few areas. Let's look at the charts that matter today, this week, and this year. It is Friday, so we'll do the year-over-year look back too. Number one gainer, we've been calling this out, VXX. We've been saying, bullish accumulation phase for SPY ending on around today. So this should base finally VXX and carve out a low. I had said the candle or the handle I was looking for was right around, 23 was to me like extreme low. And yesterday I got to 23.43, and now we're back commanding almost a 25 handle. It's 24.97. They are liking it today. Obviously, up 6%, 6.25%. View up on the day for VXX is 24.57. They said mine by about 2% above that. So they're loving this today. I do see, obviously, if the S&P is digesting its gains for about 2-ish weeks, I see volatility having a very, modest rally to about its 21-day exponential, and that takes you right around 26 to 26 quarter. So I see about another $1 or $1.25 of upside. So probably like another 5% or so of vol, some kind of a scare of what, is AI getting the ROI, the companies need layoffs, whatever. Iran, throw whatever headline you want, but that'll probably be supportive for this getting to 26. And then that will likely be your move. Once this gets around 26, right around options expiration, around the 19th of June, that's probably the digestion is over and the SPY's getting ready to take another leg higher. In terms of trades, again, I'm not really looking for trades because I am out next week. I do think this goes higher. This candle tells me it's going further. Options are very cheap right now. I don't love the trade, but I guess you could buy, the 26 July calls. They're going to be expensive, though. Options have been, when I say options are cheap, I'm talking about in terms of implied vol, where we are, 18 or so in SPY in terms of IV rank. So things are overall cheap. I'm talking about in terms of the, symmetry and convexity of payouts. So many times I look at the options and it's really just not worth it. I'd rather do the stock because they're running so much hotter, and just in terms of margin requirements, I like the upside with shares and building a position instead of options with the time lapse. But I do, of course, dabble in options when opportunities see fit. Right now, you could probably buy some upside for VXX or sell those 23 puts if you want to credit, but understand how that works. You want VXX to go down, you want markets to go higher. I don't think that's going to happen in the very near term. All right, number two, totally risk on. They're buying volatility today. Your volatility is up. Number two is Staples. This thing had been a dog. Look at that. It's almost like the computers know. This brick wall of support. We talked about Staples, I think, when it got this Dikembe a couple of days before Memorial Day, actually. We knew it wasn't ready for the spotlight of $87, and boom, even Staples moves down here all the way to a beautiful tag, I think 3 times this week, of its 200-day moving average, which is a brick wall 81.40, and boom, beautiful candle here, almost a bullish engulfing, totally swallowing up yesterday's flat, ugly day. I mean, it was down 15 bips, but it was a much uglier day if you look at the candle. Today, a nice 2% rally as they crowd into defensive stocks. This, I think, is going to have a good 2 weeks. It's got to hold in right around this area, about 83.5. It's been impressive, but like I said, right here is where my line is. Look at that horizontal line here, 83.5. It's been kind of a scene of the crime since end of March for XLP. So I want to see this hold. Otherwise, I do think this is headed towards 86 to 87. I think that's where the buck stops. Again, these are low vol. You could probably buy the SEP or August 86 calls and then sell the June's 86s against it. I like that trade. Understand its options are on XLP. So these are not high, fast movers. It's $1.30 ATR on an $83 stock, for goodness sake. So it does not move crazily. Otherwise, I love this brick wall support. This is support, my goodness, going back from January 14th, so basically on the year, also serving as your 200-day moving average. I think you could sell the 81 puts. It's just not going to pay you handsomely, but you could probably do that. Just roll where the theta bleeds out every 21 days. I think XLP has monthlies, but you have to check. So that is the other trades on XLP. And the other thing, they've been crowding. I've been getting, sector or subsector love, I'll say, from ARKG long, but healthcare lately has been an absolutely a great ride, up 1.5% today. It's a big move. They're only dealing up today volatility, Staples, and healthcare. It's the defensives. And healthcare has had a rough time since, I would say, 2 weeks after the war started. Right here in late March 20th, it sunk under its 200-day moving average. Found decent support at 142, and now, boom, a rising 200-day moving average. You always want to give a crazy dog like that a long leash. Don't forget, these guys peaked at the beginning of the year. Literally the first week of January at 161. Now it's $7 away from new 52-week highs as healthcare. This is just rotation. This is not a sick bull market. And the fact of that, that's not conjecture. RSP hit all-time highs, I believe, yesterday and the Dow today. So this is truly physical over everything. And we'll get to crypto in a minute, an exemplary period of that exclamation that they're picking the physical over digital here. Healthcare, this is an interesting chart here. I like the support. It was very important that it held this 150 area. As you can see here, this was old, support up until mid-March. And then the war really started affecting, the different areas, of course. And now just 2 days, it's still early in healthcare. Now you have a lot of price discovery going back at this 154 level, honestly, going back to Thanksgiving. So very important. Interesting chart. Great looking candles, equal in size. It's been up about 1.5% today. I don't think the trend's getting tired yet. You're running into a very thick area here, around 157. I kind of just want to sell strangles on this. Again, also this holding 50 RSI since early May. So overall constructive. I kind of nothing really. I don't know. Probably want to sell the 157s, and I like that support at 149. Maybe just a $5 out strangle. So you sell the 149, 159, and just do that, every couple of weeks. Again, I don't know how much it's going to pay you and suck up on your margin, see if it's worth it. But that is a trade. The overall trend, though, is probably higher, I believe, obviously. But I think it's just choppy. When I see this kind of formation, yes, it could go off and away, but this is a lot of overhead here. So I'm curious how much the crowd goes into healthcare. But I do think it goes higher. Also, probably sell strengths. All right, let's go to the bloodbath because today is a down 3.5% day in the NASDAQ. Where are the heart of the losers? If you're squeamish, leave the room. Rocco literally put his tail between his legs and is heading for the door. So if I get up, it's still at the door. Open for him. Number one, Ethereum. I'm not mocking it. I've been talking about how awful the chart looks like. It's like they're, when you invert this, it would be, they're curing cancer. It would be like Ethereum is giving people cancer. That's what this chart looks like to me. Oh my goodness, this peaked last August. Don't forget, Ethereum peaked before, and I think Rocco's long Doge, Shiba Inu, and Ethereum. So let me just get him out of here. Poor guy. Wolf. Also some PetSmart, I think some Chewy stock. Ethereum peaked, don't forget, about 2 months before Bitcoin did. So August 22nd, I'm doing this in ETF terms as this is an ETF program at $37. Then similar to what you just saw in healthcare, look at this. It's battling with a rising 200 moving average, but I give a dog a bone, right? This was really significant purgatory from about Thanksgiving, and then the bottom fell out right around mid-January. And then where do you say, you know what, my patience is gone? Typically, when the 200-day moving average rolls over, you're just in for a longer fight. That's all that means, and especially when it corresponds with a low. That actually happened February 24th. To be very honest with you, there was no reason. We'll look at, I think IBIT, is IBIT a chart in here? Yeah, IBIT chart is coming up because what the second worst place to have been in this entire week. And look at the rallies, too. Just get to the 21-day exponential moving average. Here, a little bit more impressive. With that rally, once the ceasefire, it was risk assets to the moon everywhere. It took ETHA to 1865, and then it completely rolled over. We're giving back 50% from there. So ETHA just looking absolutely awfully. Why are we talking about it today? Because it's down 10% today. You don't think it's done yet? I did suggest if you were going to short this about a week ago, I said just do it strictly through the ATRs, but shorting $13 ETFs is not my thing. Obviously, this is 16 RSI. This is the worst. This isn't objective. I mean, this isn't subjectivity. This is 16 RSI. This is the worst Ethereum has looked all year through the ETHA ETF. Worse than the prior 52-week low, February 5th, when we were trading 1377. Obviously, we're below that by quite a bit. So again, the ATR on this, if you're looking for trades, is 68 cents. My goodness, to about 70. So $1.40. You can short this right here, right now. Be careful. I wouldn't do it through the ETF. You're going into the weekend risk, and who knows what could happen. But the trade would be stay short until it rips $1.40 in your face. And to be frank, the dead cat bounce that you get, I don't know when it's going to happen, considering we're expressing, physical over digital, and this is truly digital. But the dead cat bounce would get you to about 15 quarter to 15 half. It would seem monstrous, but truly, this thing has left the room. Ethereum to me died, and chalk outline it out right around the end of February. And this has all been just ugliness. The only thing is, yellow card here, yellow flag rather, was you had a very good, strong, constructive above 50 RSI for several. How long was this? April 7th through 5 weeks, and then what an ugly rollover. The failure to sustain that into new 52-week lows is really ugly, and also just one green day since May 27th for Ethereum, and I believe it was a flat up 7 BIP day. So this thing, let's be honest, has been green or has been red since May 26th. Yikes. And I think that was the Tuesday after Memorial Day. So it's been a while. They're absolutely hammering it today. Let's see what else they're hammering. This is more of a dollar move. Dollar absolutely strengthening today with the job number. Gold. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. All-time highs. This is very important. Very important. Very important. Gold, all-time highs back here in January. Sure, crowded trade, 510 in GLD. Oh my goodness, beautiful chart. People don't thinking about selling their gold, but look at this. We seem, my goodness, like we are going to be sub 400 in GLD for the first time since Christmas. Truly, it's been. I'm going to do a little bit of a curve fitting here. It's not exactly 50-line neutrality from RSI, but it's been sub 53 RSI since the week of the war, okay, March 10th. So they've definitely calmed their enthusiasm on GLD. I like gold when you see what it's done in the past 3 years, 10 years, 30 years versus even the GOAT like Q's. I do believe it deserves allocation. This looks ugly. It is not yet oversold. The dollar is having a key move here. I think it will hold. The thing that's very important here is view up on the day. Let's get into the micro real fast. View up on the day is 402. That's very ugly. Today they're saying no thank you. Please ring the bell and let me sell more. It looks really ugly on the day. I don't think it recovers. The important numbers, the 200-day moving average right at 405 will round up. I think it recovers, and especially if the market takes a breather and folks step off the beta, which I do think they will, due to the strength that semiconductors has had, and obviously high correlation with SPY, I think they'll let their foot off the gas there and start to build a small position in GLD. You got to be really picky. It's not the gold miners. It's not the miner juniors that are dealing with higher oil costs. It's strictly the metal itself in a Fed that's hand behind their back. Obviously can't cut anytime soon. So I do think this bounce will take this. Oh, Rocco's, I guess he's long gold. I think he's happy with it. What do you want? What do you want? I already talked about Doge. Anyways, there's a couple trades here. You have to wait and be. There it is. I would wait and see the close. You need a close above 405. I would buy that into strength. Otherwise, you're dealing with some scariness here because you could look at 370. That's not my base case, though. I do think this bounces and gets towards 415. I kind of like the idea of buying the August 415 call, selling June 420 calls against it. I still kind of trust it. A very interesting moment in time. Obviously, you're at 6 months support here, right? Plus the area of the rising 200 moving average and gold. Come on. You just saw other charts where they deserve the dog deserves a bone. Oh, go figure. Talking about you, Rocco. He doesn't deserve any bones. His breath stinks, actually. Maybe get one of those greenies things. But this is an interesting point. It may buck, but not waver, absolutely bend, but not break is the words I'm looking for. But I do think this has a week of soft bullishness towards 415. So that would be my way to play it. Be careful. It's very spicy, though. Obviously, if you sell the 395 puts outright, they hate gold today, obviously, with the move. All right. And the next area they hate, so they hate digital gold, which is Bitcoin, so-called, and they hate regular gold, too. And they also hate Ark. Oh, my goodness. Today, an ugly, ugly deal for Ark. And look at this. This is a great kind of a wrap of everything we've been talking about. They've had a fight, Ark, with the 200-day moving average since early February. This before most people could even spell Iran. October 8th, so 2 weeks before Bitcoin, we'll use this as a correlation for this. I mean, it is correlated, obviously, is Kathy Wood's basket of funds here. October 8th, this peaked at roughly $93. And honestly, it went sideways, went south, kind of corrected and formed a base up to 84. And then truly, kind of failed early February with not the 52-week low, but the interim shorter-term low coming March 30th at $63 and a rise here just last week to $82. And now here you are at 75, a horrendous looking candle. The 200-day moving average is still going up, albeit by a penny a day, to $78. And now you're inside it by $3. What now for Ark and this type of speculative stocks? That is a horrendous looking candle today. It is down 6%. Is this basket view up to 76.41? And they said no, thank you. I think this basket is truly in the penalty box for the next 2 weeks. I wouldn't be shocked if it heads towards $72. This is not the environment for just right here, right now, and this specific basket of stocks to take a breather off. So I do believe this heads towards $72. You can buy the August 72 puts. Understand they're going to be absolutely jacked. Sell June 72s or 71s against it. I do think it breaks that support. It has been very nice, decent support of 72.5 going from the week of the ceasefire. But I'm seeing that trend break in more charts than not, depending. And then I'm seeing possibly a longer term with a downward consolidation rectangle here. It looks like it's forming going back from mid-April between this 83 and 73. So I think that's where it tested to the downside. I also think the idea of selling 80 calls makes sense. The August 80 calls, it's not a bad idea at all, actually. Interesting. Always buy something against in a spread. So I would sell the 80 June calls and then buy, the 81s against. I actually like that trade. I think this one has the air come out a bit. And then again, don't forget, this rally started here on the 19th. I'm a big 15-day cycle guy. This rally started here at $74. It took you to about $83. That's a great measured target move, and now it's going to it got to a point of thick resistance at the 200-day at 78, and now it's going to go south. They're hating it today, though. All right, let's keep going. There's a lot going on here. Top three, and this is crazy. If I told you the SPY was going to get back, it's Friday afternoon. When we look back at the week, it was a 1.5% loss, and the best ETF, and you saw what semis did this week and everything else. If you weren't living on a rock, you know the best performing ETF is this week? Oil. And we said it was going to be sticky, and we said this chart looks, I don't want to say phenomenal, but the chart looks very good. And this war in Iran isn't close to ending, regardless of how much you keep track on the headlines. I said look for this. We were talking about this, I think, in last Friday's video. I said look for this to base and hold 138. I need to hold 138 to have like confidence in the upside to know it has the momentum to go higher. It's trying, okay. The worst for it came the week after Memorial Day on May 29th specifically. It hit 127, and then it wasn't quite yet ready on Wednesday. It got all the way on 141, and then now they're selling it off again. Today, down 3%. It's your best gainer on the week, up 4% inside of, 80 bips or something like that a day. Today, a reversal. I think if assets are going to find a bid when beta takes a breather, I think oil is going to do it. And to be frank, I need to see that close above 138 or 21-day exponential. If I do get that, and that's a big if, in the next several days, I do think this has a very decent 2 to 3 week run while SPY takes a backseat. And this heads to about, it sounds insane, 152 to the 155 area, targeting potential new 52-week highs. The chart looks very constructive. Last thing on this, the trades will come, once it goes above 138, but I'm out next week. If you see 138, I'm telling you, it's going to be a buy, and that's going to correspond with about a 50.5, 51 RSI, and it'll get momentum to the upside, and it likely clears. Again, just so I see it here, 138 even is where my horizontal line is. Those moving averages will start to curl higher, and you'll get this formation, this W. It's a W within a W, and I'll see that go higher. It kind of looks like the Wario logo or the Ultimate Warrior for all my wrestling fans out there. That is oil, the best ETF of the week, up 4%. Congrats if you were in it. Number two, healthcare is your number two best performer this week, up 3 1/3%. Much coming from today. Had I just mentioned this ticker, I'm not going to go through it again, but I already talked about it. And oil, like I said, the trades will come once it closes above 138. If it does, you could probably go into like the SEP, 155 calls, or just straight up buy the stock, the ETF, and use the stop system. XLV we already talked about. And then number three, best area, XLE, the basket. So it was the energy stocks that haven't gotten, a ton of love recently, but still look at this chart. This is absolutely stupendous. These guys peaked March 30th at 63.5. Again, nice higher lows here. Beautiful hammer there. A game changer here on April 17th, the ceasefire day. They really stuck in and stepped in to buy there. And then here at 55, and then here at 56. Love the formation here. XLE is going higher for the next 2 weeks. It's interesting. My equivalent level of conviction, so I already told you 138 for the USO. For XLE, it's 58 even. It's a very interesting day. It is now 1%. My exact level will be 58.13 because that's the 21-day exponential. And right here, it's 58.26 VWAP, and they're saying no, thank you. It's below that. So this one might need another day or two. It shot its brains out a little bit early here 2 days ago too. It had a decent day. It runs to 59.40, and then it closed, a little bit on the lower side, 58.70. So I'm seeing a little bit of wavering enthusiasm here too as it crosses just barely 50 RSI. But look at this green every day since the 29th, minus today. So I do think it might take another day or two. If you get a close here above 58, 15, it could be today. It's trying. I do think the target for this is $61, a rock's throw away from its 52-week high. I believe all-time highs for XLA. So, and then what trades would you do there? Again, I don't have to super overcomplicate it. August or September, 61 calls, and then sell the June's 61s or 62s against it, so you could sleep at night. Otherwise, you could sell those. I mean, it's headline driven as well with everything in Iran, ceasefire, this, that, agreement, blah. Also, I like the selling the idea of 56 puts. It is a spicy trade going 3 weeks out, or the 55s. And again, your 200-day moving average is at 50. This group has not come under significant hard times since election day, when it was under the 200-day moving average. XLE looks absolutely great. Overall, I think it's getting ready for a decent, 2 week run to new potential 52-week highs. Top 3 losers the past 5 days. I just did this, so we're not going to go through the chart intensely. But again, Ethereum down 21% in the past 5 days. Half of that coming from today's hemorrhaging to 16 RSI. This thing's lost an average of 4% a day today, garnering further strength. Let's look at its ugly cousin here, Bitcoin through IBIT. This one lost only 17% this week, or about 3% a day. Today, 4.5%, a very ugly looking candle. Let's take a look. Did we look at this yet before? No. So new 52-week low for IBIT. VWAP is 34.69. It's getting close. It's 30 cents away from that. Just an ugly, ugly day. I expect and hope for this one to base. One thing I'll say, I'm not a massive overlays guy because it gets into, a lot of Nostradamus, and you get more into like history repeating than rhyming, which isn't, the case. It's often the opposite. It rhymes. Bitcoin is going through a very identical. If I did the overlay, let me just do it. And so instead of this is from IBIT. Oh, goodness gracious. Let me just do it. So Bitcoin is going through a very similar, it's a 5-year correction. Let me just zoom out, make it easier. So if you see this peak here, October 25, and then this bleed out, it's very similar with what we had here in this rally of April 2021, and then this bleed out lower. And this is what I wrote an article about in February, that Bitcoin would be at around 55K come July. And Bitcoin then, to be very honest with you, was, and I know people were calling me crazy, it was 70K back then, 72K, yeah. And now here we are at 60K, 52-week lows. I still want to go back to IBIT because that's where I have my levels on different charts. So let's go back to IBIT on a 1-year. 52-week low here looks absolutely horrendous. We'll see when the buyers step in, possibly this weekend, but this chart looks ugly. This has been, by the way, oversold. IBIT has since June 2nd. So this is 3 days now of just lower. An ugly day yesterday. That was an ugly 2.5% day. It got close to VWAP and then boom towards the close. No interest in today. Just an ugly move. And crypto, I have to confirm this. I saw a thing that Claude found critical vulnerabilities in Zcash, and Zcash cratered 50% last night. I just think, let me see if that's true. Is that true? Yeah, down about 38%. So Zcash, which had been a very strong crypto performer, honestly, look, holding the 200-day moving average and gotten very close with the quantum stocks up until 2 weeks ago. And now it said, I believe I said Anthropic, Claude found vulnerabilities, and now this thing's down 38% today. So I don't know. I see quantum stocks ripping. I see Bitcoin having had before multi-year drawdowns. If Bitcoin's going to rally, I think it could have easily another year in the penalty box south of 70K easily. And then it could go, I did the overlay, obviously Bitcoin in 2025 resolved higher, right? So this would be 2029, it would go to 250K. But again, it's a crucial point. I'm seeing quantum stocks hit all-time highs, and yet Bitcoin's not doing much of anything. The rotation hasn't found love in it. So we'll see. For me, a big test will be October, a year removed from the all-time high. But back to IBIT, you'll likely have, whenever the dead cat bounce does occur, it's going to drag this to 41K, and it's going to seem like an absolute monster move. Again, it'll likely just correspond with you getting to the 21-day exponential and the 50 RSI, and then the buyers are going to say, all right, thanks, I'm rolling over. So it's trading's a crazy thing. You buy the 52-week high list. You're not insane if you sell the 52-week low list, and that's what folks are doing here with Bitcoin versus, just look at growth of hyperscalers of where, folks really want to put their money. And lastly, for the weekly chart, the third worst place, Gold Miner Junior is down almost as much as crypto. When I went on the morning show with JC and Straza and those guys, I said this trade was looking done to me, and that was Monday the 18th. I said this is going lower with higher persistent oil prices, and guess what? That was the top from speaking about it in terms of the time frame. So that 118 was the highest it's been. It got close to it the other day, went to 120, and now boom, my goodness, we are at 102.85. VWAP is 105. They said no thanks. This looks like it wants to head over sold. Again, if gold is doing what it's doing, these miners have costs and actual balance sheet issues, unlike gold that are just being gobbled up by central banks. So Look for this to base. I'm looking for the next level of price discovery here. I mean, like it could get to $88. You need to see these candles get smaller. This thing dropped an average of 3% a day. Today down 8. So it tells me they're not done yet. Gravity usually wins. So this could go find support at $88, and then you'd have a somewhat monstrous bounce to the 200-day moving average at 113. And I think that might be all she wrote as you see the ball bounce off the table. Still, I don't want to write it off, because its parent, gold, is still overall a very strong performer, and silver, as we'll see, is one of the leaders of the ETF world in the past year. And it is somewhat constructive. I think this is very important. This is since May 19th closing, which ironically is the day after I went on the show. I broke the 200-day moving average. So high oil cost catches up to us all, and it's catching up to obviously the gold miners. Top 3 trades the past 5 days. If you've been short Ethereum and IBIT, and these things are getting so close together, and if these things are in drawdown for a long period, I'm going to start treating them as one, just so I can cover more assets on the show, because the correlation between them is turning towards one. But if you were short Ethereum and short IBIT and the gold miner juniors, congratulations. You absolutely kingslayed of this market. All right, my favorite part of the show. Let's do the top 3 trades of the past 52 weeks. All right, and I don't think there's massive surprises here. I didn't even have to change this from last week. Lets you know that they have holding power. Just tough, a tough couple of days. Number 1, and I got stopped out a couple of days. Like I said, I'm going away next week, so the portfolio is pretty much being, liquidated, and I will reposition, reopen according to the 1 and 3 month highs and all-time highs the following Monday upon return. Here is South Korea, the all-time high just 4 days ago at 218. We talked about how to play it with the stop system. The one thing I will say, full disclosure, your stop system does not control massive gaps. So when you're down 11%, you can obviously only get executed truly within market hours. So that is one thing. But like I said, you use the stop system. 2x of ATR would be a very wide leash. So on that day, if you bought, let's say the day before the all-time high, just for a simple exercise, the ATR was $9. It's $18 for 2x. You rally, you buy that at 206, right? If it moves against you by $18, you get out. So that would be a break under to 184, and you would have gotten out today with obviously a loss. And if you moved your stops up, then you would have potentially gotten any the next day, but likely not. These are, like I said, digestion for the market. This is, to me, is beta, because everyone's obsessed with DRAM and memory. This is going to be in the penalty box for around 2 weeks. I'm kind of surprised at how much it went like a knife through buttered bread here. Went right through 192. That's kind of surprising to me. Today it went right through, and the candle looks horrendous today. VWAP is 185.5. They said no thanks. I don't think they're going to step in at the end of the day, but this thing's going on absolute fire. We talked about, I think it was on Monday, I said, look out for this thing to get, let me check my notes. I said this thing should be at about 192. And obviously we went up to as high as what I said, 217. And now, like I said, sometimes the market gives you a lot and a little, or a little and a lot. And right now it went through that to 180. In terms of how bad can it get, I do like the support that it put in there on May 19th and a level first discovered here on Cinco de Mayo Sunday. So I like the pullback to 165. I think it heads there possibly Monday, Tuesday, because this candle looks ugly. You need to see this get smaller. It's down 11% today, for goodness sakes. So it's not done. I like the support at 165, nice even number right there. And I think that'll hold. If it doesn't, then it's possible it goes to 155. I don't think so. In terms of trades, you can probably sell upside calls for now. I don't know if the 205 Junes, pay a dang thing. So it's not really worth the risk. Again, this thing's down 11%. And if you're looking at long, you can sell downside puts. One thing I do want to comment on, you are now south of 50 RSI in Korea for the first time since the ceasefire. So there is many things I'm seeing here. The balloon, the air is coming out from that extreme moves that we've had. Things are now coming down to earth. Like I said, gravity wins everything. I think they have a Modest Mouse song who I'm seeing tonight. Gravity rides everything, wins everything, something like that. But truth, same here for South Korea. So just take notes. And again, it's held a 40 RSI all year. That would probably be a corresponding with a 165 spot. And then I would think buyers step in, including myself, although I do deploy a breakout system. That would be a deploying a breakdown system. All right, so that is EWI up 180% right here, right now, including this 11% decline. Ain't no thing. And that trend is looking A-okay. I think it has to take a breather. All right, number two, SOX up 159% year over year, just a hair behind. It's down 7% today. We talked about this candle here on the 3rd. It closed at 615 above VWAP. Very nice, very decent looking candle here. And then yesterday it did lose 2%. And then obviously today's bleed down 7%. I was in up until this morning. Like I said, I'm winding down the book for vacation, whatnot. This will be in the penalty box for 2 weeks with an ultimate support level of around 480 if they decide to take it there. I know it seems foreign, but these things are all correlated. And if South Korea is bleeding out 11% on one day and the SOX 7% on one day, and they took that South Korea level to support or near support on May 18th, I'm not shocked they do the same thing here for a very correlated asset. And that residual or corresponding level will be right around 485. Either way, penalty box for these guys for about 2 weeks with a floor of about 485. Sure, I think you could sell the 605 calls. Again, I'm not sure. I don't have the option chain in front of me. Not sure if that's going to pay anything. Other trades, I just think it's going south for the next 2 weeks with a stasis, a gravity, the center being held right around the 21-day exponential moving average, which, by the way, right now is around 545. So this thing has room to go lower. And you will know by the candles getting smaller. And again, this thing's still extremely strong at 58 RSI. I need to see this get to about the neutral line of 50 to let me know it's done. Last time it happened was May 19th. Before that, it was the week before the ceasefire. So look for SOX for an important clue. And the number 3, way back. So South Korea crushing it this year, up 180. Allocate to it, figure out a percent, and allocate. Number 2 is SOX. They are obviously associated. One's AI memory heavily. The other one are semiconductors, which you need for that. I would allocate to that as well because these charts are going up. And the number 3 is silver, up 90%, half of South Korea's gains. And a critical point right here, silver peaked in that crazy phase end of January at 110, and basically almost gave back half on a sell-off. And now a very, very critical time. It is getting very close to its 200-day moving average. I love trading silver. I haven't had it in the system for a while, unfortunately, because it hasn't had those breakouts I need to fulfill the conditions. Silver VWAP on the day is 63.58. It doesn't look like it's going to recover that. It's down 7%, for goodness sakes, on the dollar strength. Look for this to base right around, honestly, I do think it's going to find support at around the 60.5 to 61 level. Again, the 200-day moving average is at 60.61. The candle's ugly. I think this has a little bit more to go. It'll probably breach it, pierce it, kiss it, tap it, do whatever you want to say to it. I think it's going to meet it. Then after that, it'll have a bounce, and this is going to be, I don't know, maybe sounding a little bit weird, but it's going to get to probably $68, $69. Seem amazing in terms of strength, part of the market, maybe signal 1 month highs and then roll over again. So this trade, is losing momentum. We'll see if that is, second derivative. Do we see that same thing? Silver's needed for chips, which is needed for South Korea. We'll see which one is giving up the ghost first. You see what I'm saying? So, and again, this one looking ugly in terms of the RSI, now south of 40 RSI, which it typically has not done for much this year. This candle's very ugly. Not shocking if we see 60 or 59 handle even first. But then I do think buyers will step in. Trades, I mean, I don't think that 75 is going to be recovered anytime soon. That's way high. You're not going to get paid for that. It's a tough one. I think, like I said, it's going higher. But this thing's also been getting its butt kicked relative strength versus SPY lately. I think it's going lower first. You could probably dabble and do like 59 August puts. As soon as it breaches those 60 even, get out, because I do think they'll step in there. Woo! All right, this is chock loaded. Like I said, we'll be out next week. I hope you enjoy everything. Subscribe if you like what you're seeing on the Substack, the YouTube, X, all that jazz. And I will be back Monday, the 15th of June. Enjoy your weeks, y'all. Peace. Rocco says bye.